I will never tell the First Presidency what they should or should not put in their message. And listeners, I will
I feel
encourage you
like
to
you're
read the
about to
First
tell them.
Presidency
I feel
message.
like you're about to tell them what they should put in their message.
If they need a speechwriter or they need like a PR person who has a bit of a quirky take on things, I'm here for you, First Presidency.
Mornings are better with a warm beverage, even for Latter-day Saints. Meet Postum, the ideal coffee alternative and proud sponsor of This Week in Mormons podcast. Spotted on the coffee aisle at Smith's Grocery or at your local nearby store. Can't locate it? No worries. Order it at postum.com. Explore delicious recipes to tailor your Postum experience. Start your day off right with Postum.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to This Week in This Week in Mormons.
Hey, Matt.
With your hosts, Matt
I'm
and
going to do
Melissa.
it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to This Week in Mormons with your hosts, Matt and Melissa, the original Mormon news podcast.
That was really good.
You've never messed up before, Matt, ever.
Well, we had a bit of a late night last night.
We sure did. We're so tired.
So if you're a regular listener, you know that the episodes normally drop on Saturdays or sometimes Friday. But we're recording early Sunday morning because we had an amazing weekend. Our whole family got together for the annual Whitley family Christmas party. And the highlight, well, we haven't done the Christmas party in a long time, right, Melissa? We've had a little bit of a gap.
It's been several years. Yeah, it's been several years. Yeah. But we had to drive a long way to get there and a long way to get home.
Yeah. It was in Spanish Fork. So for some of you, that's just around the corner. But for me, that's like a 4-hour drive. And so the highlight of this, if you've never come to one of our Christmas parties before, which most of our listeners.
They have. Yeah, I don't think they have come, but they're invited.
We always have it in a chapel, not a church building.
Yeah.
And the highlight is because it gets dark early around Christmas time, we turn off all the lights in the building and we play a game called Ditch. And I've never been able to explain Ditch in a way that people understand how epic this game is.
Well, Matt, I take great pride in introducing or / creating this game for our family, but it literally is the biggest tradition of our family, this Ditch game. Side note, we haven't done it as a extended family, but my family plays this game every single Christmas Eve. We get our Christmas pajamas and then we play Ditch.
What?
Sometimes we play it. We usually play it over at my high school, but yeah, it requires a large area that's completely dark to play. And then there's a lot of made up rules, and it's not hide and seek, and it's not capture the flag, but it is a hide and catch game.
You have a line. Everybody walks in a single file line, and there's a line leader who can turn their head sideways, but you can't turn around and look behind you.
Right. You can only turn your head 90 degrees, and you can only move in 90-degree squares. This is the defining characteristic of this fabulous game.
So then a lot of people cheated last night because people weren't actually following down. I cheated, but I also won. I feel like I won. Anyhow, the purpose of the game is to leave this single file line and you hide somewhere in the dark, and then you're trying to get back in line. Wait, that's how it started. You tried to get back in line, but we don't do that anymore.
You try to get back in line to free other people who are trapped in line.
And then you keep track of how many people you touch that are in the line and free.
To free them. And you have to get back out of line without getting caught. Listen, it's so fun. We had, how many people did we have playing? Like 30 people to start?
Yeah. Yep, there were probably 30 of us.
Yeah, it was super fun. Yeah.
We're not doing the game justice, but I'm telling you, it's worth it.
Yeah.
If you guys would like to know the rules, reach out to Grandpa Beck. He's probably going to market it sometime soon.
Yeah, he's probably working on marketing it right now. Yeah, for sure.
Let's get to the mailbag, Melissa.
Okay.
From time to time, I say things on the podcast that make people upset. And so let's see if that happened last month. This person says, for the record, I do love The Chosen, unlike Matt, who has a cold heart and supports political candidates with similar cold heart issues. The Gramps from Ask Gramps is Dead, like several years ago. His website is run by More Good Foundation. So this was an interesting comment. Mostly let me know that I have a cold heart.
I think we know that.
You made a mistake in something you said about a website, but The
Right, but I
listener
said it
wanted
with love and a cold and a warm and generous heart, so it's fine.
I like it. Hey, listener, thanks for reaching out and letting us know that.
Listen,
I
Matt
have,
takes all of your comments with joy and peace and
I
love
do,
in
I
his
do.
cold, cold heart. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone knows that I have a cold heart. Nobody's ever wondered about this. I
I
do,
think what he's really commenting on is that he doesn't like your political takes on things.
or apparently I have to like The Chosen. I was out in the
Oh,
area
yeah.
where they filmed The Chosen, and I thought I should try to like this, and I can't. I can't like The Chosen. So, any
Okay.
show where they say you got to give it about a season and a half, I'm like, come on, I can't do that. I give movies like a scene or something like that. I can't do that.
Okay.
I don't know what else I do with my
You have
time, but
high standards and people aren't
yeah.
meeting them. Okay. Okay.
Not every show is for everybody else. Like you don't have to
That's
like
right.
everything.
Yeah. Like, for
Okay.
example, not everybody likes you, and some of people like me.
Okay, the next listener said, when you last recorded, the movie Heretic had not been released. Since then,
Okay.
I've seen the movie and wanted you to know that the movie is not anti Mormon, not at all. The sister missionaries come across as winners and are positively portrayed. It is a movie that is actually about religion in general more than it is about Mormonism. In general, I think it's unfair to say that a movie will cause those with bad intent to create harm to missionaries.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. I like this feedback because we have been talking a lot about the movie that we haven't seen.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think I've heard this like similar sort of response from other people is that, yeah, actually the sister missionaries come out looking really good and it's not anti-Mormon. So
So they're the new hosts for This Week in Mormons. I call them
yes,
JJ and J. Is that what I should call them? JJ and J?
I think J and J is the perfect thing to call them. Yes.
I actually would call it J and JJ. But anyhow, no, JJ. Anyhow, it doesn't matter what I would call them. They can call. They
Thanks, Pat.
they talked a lot about the movie Heretic.
Yeah.
One of them had seen it and I think did a pretty good review of the movie.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
daughter, who's a return missionary, was like, I'm torn up. Like, I want to see the show, but it's rated R, and I don't
Yeah.
know if I should go see it. And I was like, do you
That's
watch
how I
any
felt
other?
too.
But
Yeah.
did you see it, Melissa?
No, I've never seen a rated R movie like ever. And I also appreciated what JJ and J and JJJ said about like that really being a thing of a younger generation. Like attitudes are really shifting towards rated R movies culturally in Mormonism. But I have never seen one and I have a hard time. But I IMDb'd Heretic and it looks like super clean.
Yeah.
Like a couple of swear words, some gore, no sex. Like it's looked like better than most TV shows, honestly, as far as content cleanliness. So I was like, I think I'm going to go see it because I really, really want to. But now when I made that decision, it's not in theaters anymore. So
Oh,
I
it's
lost
really
some
not in
appetite.
theaters? Oh.
No. Mm-mm. Well, I
Oh.
mean, it might be in a few, but nowhere near me. I think the closest one by me was like 2 hours away. So
Oh. Well, take heart,
yeah.
Melissa. Somebody in our family
Uh
is going to pirate it and make it available to everybody.
huh. You're right.
Because that's
You're
what
right.
did you know I found out yesterday at our family party that two of our brothers have like this obsession with purchasing things from like Temu or Amazon, and they just buy stuff because it's free, not even stuff they need. They just have this obsession to get things like at a good deal. And they do the same thing with like movies and stuff. It's like they just hoard these movies. They're never going to watch the movies. It's just like, I can get it at a good price, so I'm going to get it. I got to get it. Isn't that interesting?
That's messed up.
Yeah.
Just kidding. No, it's
She's
not
like,
messed up. It's a product of growing up poor, Matt. That's what it is.
I know. I wish I could say I never do that, but I do that. I have a whole lot of stuff that I hoard. I hoard.
You can call it collecting, and then it doesn't sound as bad. You're a collector.
I like it. Okay, well, let's get to the quick clips, Melissa. So
Okay, let's do.
I get to go first. The Church News has a story on what it is like in the MTC on Thanksgiving. Now,
Oh, okay.
you didn't serve a mission, right,
I
Melissa? You've
didn't.
never been in the MTC?
Nope.
So the MTC is a special place and they do things a little differently there, especially Thanksgiving. So if you think about typical Thanksgiving traditions, they don't do those at the MTC. What do you guess are some of the things that they do at the MTC for Thanksgiving Day?
I bet. Well, they have Thanksgiving dinner probably, but I bet they get to do like A football game. Like a lot of
Nope.
families do that on Thanksgiving.
Nope.
You can't do a football game at the MTC?
You cannot. They do not do that.
Oh. But
It's
you can
different.
do sports. You can play like basketball and stuff at the MTC.
Yeah, but they don't even do a turkey bowl or anything like that. They don't. No.
Okay.
So
Okay.
in the morning, a member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles came to give a talk.
Okay, yeah.
Elder Cook came and gave a talk. Then they
In
have.
the morning. Wait, I'm sorry. In traditional Thanksgiving, you don't get to eat all day until the feast. So no breakfast at the MTC on Thanksgiving Day?
Oh, they weren't that specific, but since it's the MTC, I imagine there was breakfast.
Okay.
I bet they went to McDonald's and got sausage, egg, and
Well, that makes a note of a lot of people probably have to work on Thanksgiving to feed the missionaries all day.
True, but like the teachers and stuff have Thanksgiving off. So there probably are the like cook staff that are there preparing meals. But that would not be different than any other day, I guess. Maybe they do something special for the MTC. When I was in the MTC, my favorite day was Crepe Day. I loved it when they. But I doubt that they do that. Okay, so
shout out to the cooks though, because I bet they appreciate knowing that.
They're like, "What were you in the MTC 30 years ago? We haven't had crepes in like 30 years." That's right. It didn't get better than like really thin pancakes back in the day. Okay, so Elder Cook came and gave a talk. Then they had a meal. Okay, and then after the meal, this is something that I don't think we did on our Thanksgiving. They had a service project where they a lot of them. Okay, and then how do you think they ended the day?
Prayers.
Okay, before that part.
Music.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
John Schmidt from the Piano Guys came and did a concert with his wife. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome.
So, the way that mission calls and stuff work these days is you typically don't have as many missionaries in the MTC on Thanksgiving as you do in the summertime. But if you're a young person out there like contemplating serving a mission, trying to time your time in the MTC, you might want to time it for Thanksgiving because it sounds pretty good.
Do you know what I learned yesterday? You have 2 sons who are working on their mission papers right now.
I do. Yeah. One of my sons got his wisdom teeth out just before Thanksgiving because I did better, by the way, this time with this son who got his wisdom teeth out than I did the previous son.
Okay.
I did better. He did not do better. He broke all the rules, but I did a good job of following the rules. But listen,
when I got my wisdom teeth out, I'm sorry, you can tell me in just a second, but when I got my wisdom teeth out, me and you and our other brother all got them out at the same time.
I know.
And my mom didn't want to care for all 3 of us at once. And so I got sent to our granny's house and she took care of me when I got my wisdom teeth out. No, you think it's good, Matt. No, she was very insistent that I continue to eat a healthy, proper diet. So she did things like the entire Sunday pot roast dinner, the pot roast, the carrots, the potatoes, the roll, the gravy. She put it in a blender and made me drink it in a straw. This is my memory.
We actually did that with my son. We made mashed potatoes and gravy and put it in the blender for him. You're not
did
supposed
he
to
like
drink.
It?
You're not supposed to drink with a straw when you have your wisdom teeth out. You have to spoon it in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My job was after he had a bloody mouth, right? So I was supposed to do gauze pads in his mouth every 30 minutes. I was so good, but I did not cut them the right size. So it was from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. is when my wife got home from work. And at 4 p.m., she's like had a busy, rough day. And I'm like, honey, his mouth won't stop bleeding. What do we do?
He was still bleeding.
Yeah. He's like, Dad, there's a lot of blood in my mouth. So then she called the dentist. She's like, this seems like it's too long. And he's like, he had some tips like, try a bigger gauze pad. And now wait 30 minutes. And now try again. And it's like, oh, the blood's all gone.
You didn't do a good job. You started this by complimenting yourself on what a good job you did. You did a terrible job.
I thought I did a good job. I tried. But yes, we're very excited about our young boys, our young men, our young sons finishing high school and serving missions.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, well, Matt, as you tried to care for your wounded children, you were being an angel. You were being someone's angel. And that means that you were following this year's Light the World emphasis. Did you know that?
Wait a minute. The Light the World emphasis is be an angel?
Be someone's angel. That's the light the
Mm.
world emphasis. Yeah.
Mm.
So, it's still light the world, but the emphasis is be someone's angel. And so I was like looking through the list of things that you could do because they give you ideas of how to be someone's angel. And I'm sorry to say, but they're exactly the same as last year's list of ideas, which were be a light. So I don't think we've rebranded well enough. It's fine,
I love
but
when
it's
people do
like,
that.
I know it's like the exact same list of things that you could do to be someone's angel as you could do last year when you were trying to be a light. But anyways, the church has a lot of things to help you out, to share things on social media. You can get the kindness randomizer from lighttheworld.org.
Mm-hmm.
You can join the Facebook group and get daily messages on what you can do. Anyways, just focus on being someone's angel, whatever that means. If that means placing gauze in their mouth, good job, do that. Um, yeah.
This is
So
interesting.
we're full light the world season right now.
I like it. I love the light the world. I love encouraging people to do good. I love that if I can't think of how to be good, there's a randomizer that I can click
Right.
on that will tell me ways that I can be good.
And it might be hard for you to think of ways to be good. So
It is. It is very
yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
It could start with just being kind to the people around me, but
It could.
the whole like framing it as being angel seems odd to me. Like, are there
Okay,
other
thank you.
religions that believe that that humans are angels? Like, don't they think of angels as a separate entity of some kind?
The reason I don't know what other religions think, I honestly don't even know what we think because I think it's unclear. But I just think it's weird because it's putting the focus on yourself instead of like it's
Hmm.
saying focus on how you can be an angel. And I feel like
Right.
that's just a weird shift in perspective. I get that they're just trying to again rebrand and make this something that we're thinking about, but I don't like it.
You
Pass.
know, you know what you could do? You could just say it's Christmas time.
Uh-huh.
Celebrate Christmas in this way.
Or you could just say light the world. And I think I think light the world is a great marketing. But yeah.
Yeah, you could
I'm
just
going to,
go ahead.
oh, well, I was just going to tell you two more things that are connected with the light the world. Okay. Um,
Hmm.
the Strive to Be YouTube channel. Did you know that the church has a YouTube channel that's called Strive to Be, and that's all of the church's youth music videos?
I think I knew this, but I'm not
Okay.
sure. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
well, I definitely didn't know this, but I'm not a big YouTube watching person. But yeah,
Hmm.
they just put out a new YouTube video specifically for Light the World with a new song that is called Christ the Lord, and it's by Evie
David
Clare.
Arch. Oh.
And no, no, not he's not cool anymore, Matt. He's old school.
Oh.
So the church put out a new Christmas video for Light the World. And then I know we've talked a lot about the giving machines, but this is a really innovative take that the church did. Okay. They put giving machines in the North Pole,
Oh.
Alaska, North Pole,
Oh.
Alaska, at
No.
Santa's workshop and house. So Santa
No.
has this little Christmas village up at the North Pole. They put giving machines there, and Santa Claus himself came out to promote the giving machines at the North Pole. And they even had a church news reporter whose name is Buddy Blankenfeld be
Oh.
Buddy the Elf.
Oh.
So they
Okay.
had Buddy the Elf and Santa Claus bringing out the giving machines at the North Pole. So
I like it.
that's new. That's pretty fun. Yeah.
Because when I think about ways that Santa could improve, I think he should give a little more. I wish Santa were doing more to give. And probably all the elves that live with him at the North Pole, they're like, what could we do for Christmas? If only there were a vending machine nearby that we could purchase. I mean, I like that the church, I like that they are doing the giving machines. I like the way
Yeah.
that they promote them. I
Yeah.
see friends of mine around the world that are regularly purchasing things in the giving machines. I think it's a great thing.
Right.
That
And
does
listen,
seem like a
Santa
strain.
is an angel now. Santa is an angel. So we've really connected Santa with the spiritual part of Christmas.
You know what? That
Yeah.
reminds me. My in-laws used to have, and maybe they still do. There's a statue, like you know how people have figurines and stuff for Christmas. It's Santa Claus kneeling down before the baby Jesus, worshiping him. Mhm.
Oh,
So
okay.
you can mix the two.
Okay.
Um, and now I guess you could put wings on Santa and make him an
Yeah.
angel. Yeah,
Right. Right.
that's
Yes.
great.
Perfect.
Well,
Thanks.
my next quick clip is that the first presidency has put out their Christmas message.
Okay.
And it's about 3 paragraphs long and it says, try to guess.
Be an
Jesus
angel. Be someone's angel.
No. They don't do marketing like that. It's
Okay.
very like
they say Jesus was born and
he's an
Christmas
important
is
part of
about
our,
him.
yeah, stuff like that.
Okay, cool.
I will never tell the first presidency what they should or should not put in their message. And listeners, I will
I
encourage
feel
you
like
to
you're
read the
about to
first
tell them.
presidency
I feel
message.
like you're about to tell them what they should put in their message.
If they need a speechwriter or they need like a PR person who has a bit of a quirky take on things, I'm here for you, first presidency. When they ask
But
me,
you would never tell them what to say.
right? I think it's great. It's probably exactly what we all need to hear right now. So follow that link and read their message.
Okay, perfect. Okay, there is going to be a worldwide event for youth on January 5th, and the Young Men and Young Women's General Presidencies just want everybody to know about it so that they can get excited about it and get prepared for it. It's going to be similar to the last worldwide event, which was a couple months ago, and it's going to be focused on this year's youth theme. Do you know what next year's youth theme is going to be?
Stand in holy places.
Such a good guess. Try again.
Be ye not moved.
You're doing so good. What if I give you a scriptural reference? Doctrine and Covenants 6:36.
Okay, I don't know what that is. Anxiously engaged in
You're
a good
trying
cause.
so good. No, it's look unto Christ.
Oh,
In every
really?
thought, doubt not, fear not.
Oh, okay. That's a really good one. That's a good one. I like that message.
I'm glad you like it. Yeah. So they're going to have a big worldwide devotional and look forward to it. Get ready for it is basically the story.
I like the way that they're trying to change the youth things, right? I like that they're doing these devotionals and these events. I'm not sure that it like resonates with every young person, but I like that they're trying. I think that it's good that they're trying. Okay, my story is
good try, you guys.
We're going to move to sports. Now, I know that there are millions of members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints who are not BYU sports fans, and they're probably a little upset that we're going to spend some time this morning talking about BYU sports. But
I'm not a BYU sports fan, but I'm not upset if you want to talk about it.
But it is the only church school that has sports.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, BYU Idaho doesn't, and they got rid of it at BYU Hawaii. And I'm pretty sure
Business College
does not have sports. So if you want to like root for sports and your church at the same time, there's only one option. It's BYU.
Okay. Or you could root for members of your church that go to different schools.
That's right. Okay, there are two options.
Okay, thank you.
That's why we talk about members of the church in the Olympics, because
Right. Okay.
So BYU cross country is well known for being a national powerhouse, and they recently accomplished a feat that only 5 other schools have ever accomplished, and that is the women's team won the national championship and the men's team won the national championship in the same year. And so kudos to BYU cross country. Yeah.
Yeah, listen, they are really, really good in making a name for themselves over and over and over again. It is hard to get to BYU as a runner, like on their team. Like it is very elite. So congratulations, teams. Cool.
And speaking of elite teams at BYU, did you watch the BYU football game last night against Houston?
Matt, no.
Oh, no. Oh, well. I mean, some of our listeners maybe did stay up late like me and watch that game. I listened to the game as I drove. There were 3 BYU fumbled the ball 3 times.
Oh.
And Houston had 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles. So it was one of these games where neither team wanted to hold on to the ball very long, but in the end BYU won. Now I'm going to tell you
BYU's having a good season, right? Like they're doing very well.
BYU had an amazing season until they faced University of Kansas, and they lost to University of Kansas.
Your old stomping grounds.
Yeah, I love BYU, but I love Kansas more, and it was really fun to have them beat BYU. And then they lost to Arizona State University, and so now BYU will not go to the Big 12 title game, and they're out of the playoff and all of that stuff. So they had a really great start to the season, and they sort of hiccuped their way to the end.
Was there a day of mourning in the Mormon community when all of those bad things happened to the BYU football team?
Yeah, so my wife teaches math at BYU Idaho, and she listens to the guys in the department talk BYU football, and she was like, they sure were sad after those There was a lot of people upset. But what what I was going to say is this is a sequence that happened in the game last night, Melissa.
Okay.
So BYU is about to score a touchdown, and somebody fumbles the ball, and Houston gets the ball back. And then BYU does really good on defense and stops them. So you have 3 downs, and then after that they punt the ball. So then they punt the ball to BYU, and the person who's supposed to catch the ball drops the ball and fumbles it.
Oh,
And so Houston got the ball back again. Yeah. That was a sequence, and I was like, maybe we need to focus on holding onto the ball just a little bit more. But
I
in the
think
end,
the same way that you wouldn't tell the first presidency what to say in their Christmas message, maybe don't tell the BYU coaches how to coach. Of
I
course, unless
predict,
you want to. If you have good suggestions, obviously you do.
yeah. I think a lot about football, just like I think a lot about first presidency messages. So if you guys need help, I'm here.
Right. Okay, thanks.
I won't even charge a consulting fee on this one. I'll be like,
Hmm.
I listened to the game and I decided you need to work on holding onto the ball. I don't know
Yeah.
what for sure you have to do specifically, but this is my
Yeah.
advice.
You know what? Way to be someone's angel, Matt. Good job.
You know where I got that idea? There was a
Mm.
randomizer online that was like things to be an angel.
Good. Good. Okay, I'm going to tell us a quick temple update. There's a lot of temple news happening all the time, and we're not going to cover all of it. But if you'll remember, the McKinney or / Fairview, Texas temple has
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of issues lately.
Mm-hmm.
The city does not want the temple there, basically. Anyways, real quickly, update is that the church and this town went to mediation.
Oh.
Instead of suing each other, I guess they went to mediation. They've reached a compromise, which the church hasn't been doing a lot of recently as far as temples, but they've reached a compromise. So basically, what the church has said is, okay, yes, instead of having a 2-story temple, we will make it a 1-story temple. Instead of having it be 40,000 square feet, we'll make it 30,000 square feet. And we will bring the height of the steeple down about 50 feet. And so that's been agreed upon in mediation, but the church does still have to submit new plans, which do still have to be approved by the town council. So it's not done yet, but it's better. It's moving
Mm.
forward. There's less animosity, I guess, going on in that situation.
Do you think I've been following this story only tangentially? Do you
Uh-huh.
think that it's more about the community and the aesthetic of the community, or do you think it's more about the community does not like our church, and so they're fighting about having one of our temples in their community?
I think it's probably more likely B.
Yeah.
Cloaked in A. But what I
Yeah.
remember reading in one of the stories earlier on is that there's actually not in that town itself, not regulations, or you know how towns are zoned. There's
Yeah.
not even specific zoning for churches in that town. Like it's kind of weird that way. Anyway, I don't know. I shouldn't speak on things that I don't know a lot about, but I feel like they don't particularly like our church.
But I would imagine as our church starts building temples in places where people aren't used to having temples,
Right.
that communities are like, hey, what are you doing putting this enormous building in our community?
Yeah.
I imagine in Rexburg, if somebody were to say, we want to build an enormous mosque, right
Mm-hmm.
here, there would be people in the community that would be like, no, we don't want your enormous mosque right here. And they're like, if you can make it look like a McMansion, fine. But otherwise, we don't want people to know that there's a mosque in this community or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay. Good
Okay.
job. My story
Hey, thanks.
is about the illustrated Book of Mormon. So back in the day,
Hmm.
even when I was on my mission, if I encountered people who weren't awesome at reading, I would say, hey, just read the illustrated Book of Mormon. It'll help you get kind of the background and what's going on. But sometimes, now I was like 2 iterations ago, and the artwork was not amazing. It wasn't going to end up in a museum. And then they
Okay.
updated the artwork, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, and now they're updating it again. So there's going to be a new children's illustrated Book of Mormon that you can order through church distribution.
You looked at some of the pictures that are in it.
Yeah.
They're definitely different than the ones of our childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
They're
fine with it. I
brighter.
think
They're
it's
more vivid colors. They're brighter colors.
yeah,
It look.
yeah,
Have you
yeah.
ever seen the show Bluey?
No, I'm probably the only person in the world who hasn't. I've heard that it exists, but I know nothing about it.
Well, when I watch Bluey, my first impression is always like, "Whoa, there are a lot of colors here, and they're super bright." And it's like kind of catches your eye more than the cartoons when I was a kid. And I
Okay,
feel like
so just quick side note. When you watch Bluey, do you watch it all by yourself? Because who are you watching Bluey with?
Melissa Bluey, it helps me feel better about being a father
Oh,
because
okay.
Bluey and his wife play with their kids a lot. That's all the show is Bluey and his
Oh,
wife and their two kids. Well, maybe
is it
Bluey
for
might be the kid.
children whose parents don't play with them?
I don't
They
know.
are
I
just
don't
like
know.
watch TV and learn about how some families interact. I
Yeah,
don't
they like
understand.
right. They like, oh, we're in the backyard. Let's pretend like this is a pirate ship. Oh, we're at the playground. Let's pretend like we're on an adventure of some kind. And they just every episode is just them hanging out and playing with their kids. And the
Okay.
kids are so happy and they love their dad so much. And I watch that show
Oh,
and I say, I'm okay with the kind of dad I am. I don't play with my kids. I make them play on their own, and they don't love me like they love their dad. And I'm okay
hmm
with it. It just makes me
and that
feel good
makes you
about
feel
myself.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Not everybody
Okay.
can be that kind of super dad and play with their kids at the playground all the time. So I
Okay.
do sometimes when I'm feeling down and I feel like my children don't love me, I turn on Bluey and I say,
hmm
"This is why. This is why my kids don't."
And then you
So
feel
yeah,
better.
it's kind of an alone experience. It wouldn't be appropriate for me to watch it with my children because they would be like, "Dad, this is why we don't love you. Why don't you ever play
Okay.
with us?" Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry we had to go there. I'm going to make things feel a little bit happier. Okay.
Okay.
Because this week I am in charge of famous Mormons. So excited.
Oh,
Yeah. I put a list
famous.
together to see if I could let you figure out who is the famous Mormon or Mormon adjacent person.
I'm
Okay.
gonna get it in like 3 seconds.
I'm sure that's true. Now, I decided to go with pop star edition, but not
Hmm.
current pop star. No, no, no. Pop stars of our youth. Okay.
Okay.
So, which of these pop stars from the 80s, 90s is a famous Mormon? Okay.
Okay.
I think you're going to
More
like this.
Mormon adjacent probably would be a better way to.
Okay. I think you're going to like this. The first choice is Christina Aguilera.
Okay.
Can you sing any of her songs quickly?
Baby, baby, baby.
That is
Oh.
Justin Bieber. That is
Oh.
Justin Bieber. Christina
Uh.
Aguilera. Try again.
Uh. I don't know. I can't
I
sing
wanted
anything.
you to because she's famous for hitting the really high range for singing really.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
And
does
I
she
was
sing?
hoping you'd do that.
So tell me what you want. What you really, really want. Just tell me.
That is another choice. Okay.
Oh.
Second
Okay.
choice is Mel B of the Spice Girls.
You
Go
wanna?
ahead
You
now. Do
wanna?
that
You
again.
wanna? You
Yeah.
wanna?
Yeah. That's it. Okay. So Mel B of the Spice Girls. And your
Okay.
third choice is Justin Timberlake.
I got a feeling inside my shoe.
Yes, that would be current Justin Timberlake. But can you go back to NSYNC days?
Oh man. Melissa, you're
Bye,
just
bye,
making.
bye.
Oh, he sang that. Bye
Oh,
bye.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All
Okay,
right.
I'll
Those
tell
are your
you.
three choices.
I know for a fact Mel B is not a member of our church. Justin
How do you
Timberlake,
know?
she's British.
Okay. You're right. Okay.
No, like
Okay.
the Spice Girls were.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
I
It's
would be
fine.
very surprised if she was raised a member. She's like, and then one day I was like, this talent audition with Simon Cowell, and he was putting this band together, and my dream came true. I don't think
Okay.
it's Mel B.
It's
I'm
not.
gonna say it's Christina Aguilera. I knew from the moment you said her name.
You did? Is this
Hmm.
well known knowledge that only I don't have?
I don't know. I just happen to know all of these weird things like that.
Oh,
I
okay.
I
Well,
cannot
yes.
sing any of her songs, but I tell you, she is a member of our was a member of our
Okay.
church.
Yeah, she was raised Mormon. Both of her parents were devout members of the church. They were married, her parents, in the Washington, D.C. temple. Christina Aguilera is now Roman Catholic, um, but she was raised Mormon. Dun,
Good
dun,
for
dun, dun.
her.
Did I do a good job with
That
famous
was really good,
Mormons?
Melissa. Yeah,
Oh,
I
thanks,
like that.
Matt.
Our
Yeah, okay,
listeners are
okay,
going to
okay.
appreciate that.
I'm
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, especially the singing. I think we should incorporate that more.
Bye bye.
Okay,
Okay. It's now time for big deal, little deal, or no deal.
love it.
Okay. Now I'm going to trick you on this one.
Oh,
You have to
okay,
be careful how you respond.
okay.
Okay. The headline is this: writing down gratitude can transform well being. Is that a big deal, little deal, or no deal? Big deal, little deal, no deal. 3, 2, 1. Big
No
deal.
deal.
Ha, I tricked you. Well,
You
Melissa,
didn't.
this was President Nelson talking about
Oh.
how it's important to write down things we're thankful for and how that can improve our lives.
So
So,
you're tricking me into saying that what the prophet said is no deal.
oh, it felt so good
That's
inside. Happy Thanksgiving, Melissa.
you're such an
Nope.
angel.
But it is true. I don't know if you know this, but in our bedroom, my wife and I have a gratitude poster,
Okay,
and we
pause. I know nothing about you and your wife's bedroom. I just want to be really clear. Really clear.
okay,
Okay.
that's
You
true
have a
because I
gratitude
also
poster.
I also don't know what's in your bedroom.
That's
I
right.
did when we were kids, though. I would always go into I'd like mess up your room and be
I
like,
know. You
"Mom,
were
her
the
room's not
worst
clean."
brother. I know.
So we started this probably 20 years ago. We would just get a big piece of white poster paper and we have a marker, and then whenever something happened we were thankful for, we'd just write it down on this poster. And now we have 3 of them, and they're like completely full. And it's so nice. It's in my bedroom because when I wake up in the morning, I just lay in bed and I look at my gratitude posters and I see all the things and over the course of my life that I'm thankful for. And it really does make a huge difference, especially times when I'm down and I'm not feeling awesome. I just look at these posters and I say, the Lord has been so good to me. And so President Nelson's right on this one. Writing down things you're
Okay.
thankful for is really helpful.
Okay. I think this works for you because you are in the love languages, you are a words of affirmation person,
Yes, I
right?
definitely am.
So,
Yes.
yeah, so I can understand why this, like seeing words of affirmation every morning written out, why that would be beneficial to you.
Yeah.
It annoys the crap out of me. I'm going to be honest.
Oh,
Like
oh,
when people
yeah,
are like, "Oh, just think more positively, have more positive thoughts." Well, first of all, in general, that's the way my brain works. Like I'm ridiculously over positive, like
yeah,
overconfident, and
yes.
it really, and I'm not a words of affirmation person at all. So my brain doesn't work like that. And so to me, it's just kind of like, I'm not against being grateful. I'm not saying like that's a negative thing. I'm just saying like incorporating that as part of your like daily practice to, I don't know, become better or think better. My brain just doesn't work like that. It just kind of annoys me a little bit.
I've
Thinking,
learned
being told to be grateful makes me less grateful. Isn't that weird?
I've
Yeah.
learned with President Nelson and counsel he gives,
Hmm?
because there was one time he said it'll be life changing if you go through the whole index or the topical guide, or you look for everything of Jesus in the scriptures and you read it all. And for
Okay.
me, that was more of a tedious task than a life changing thing. And I've kind of
Mm.
noticed with President Nelson, it's like he's got really great ideas and it's fine to try. And it's
Okay.
okay if it doesn't end up being life changing the way
Yeah.
maybe sometimes you think it'll be life changing. And so it's okay if it's not, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be your thing, Melissa.
Well,
But
that's good because it's not. But I do think there are a lot of studies that say like being grateful is important. Having, like keeping track, like writing a gratitude journal. I know that works for a lot of people. I'm not trying to be anti that, but yeah.
how dare you say that it was no deal, Melissa? How dare
Well,
you?
you know what? That's going to move us into my next story quite easily. All right. Are you ready for
Okay.
this?
Yes. Yeah.
If you, and you are LDS, if you are LDS, what do you do if your personal inspiration differs from what church leaders expect?
Stop. This is
Big
not a
deal,
story.
little deal. It's my story, and it's exactly what we were talking about.
Okay.
Big
Okay.
deal,
Okay.
little deal, no deal. Three, two, one.
No deal.
Big, little, big deal.
No deal at all. You're just
Listen,
getting back at me.
well, it's fine. Listen, I think it's sort of a deal. Okay, little deal. Okay. This is just an opinion piece by Gordon Monson, but from the Salt Lake Tribune. But I do like what he's saying, and it's kind of related to what we were talking about. So um obviously with the Real Mormon Housewives, this isn't in his article, but I made this leap, okay?
Hmm.
The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. There's a lot of seeing people who don't follow the practices of Mormonism exactly, but they're still very much like, yeah, but I'm LDS, right? So like I
Yes.
drink coffee, I don't wear my garments, a lot of things, okay?
Yes.
And so basically what they're doing is what this article is saying is like their personal inspiration for how to live their life, how to live their religion differs from what church leaders expect or from what they have said. And basically this article is about like, should we be okay with that? Is there wiggle room? But he does make this really good point, which I think is interesting. Back when we were growing up, the mandate to women was stay home and raise your kids, don't have a career.
Yes.
When you have children, stay home and raise them. And
Mm-hmm.
some people did not follow that did not heed that direction from the prophet. It was from the prophet and the apostles directly. Our current Relief Society General President did not heed that direction, right? She took her own
Mm-hmm.
personal inspiration. She had a career and did not stay home to raise her children. And now she's our current Relief Society president. So, like, she didn't heed the counsel, and now she's like looked at as kind of an icon. So, what do you think about all that, Matt?
She's a general officer of the church.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that President Oaks has said this. He said that general authorities teach general principles, and it's up to
Yep.
individuals to seek their own inspiration as to how to apply those principles in their lives. And President Nelson says that that we have to learn to get spiritual guidance from the Lord directly. And so
Yep.
I think that this has always been true in the church, that we follow the prophet as best we can, but sometimes the things they're saying don't apply to us. For example, when we were younger, they would talk about having kids and we couldn't have kids. And so
Yep.
how do you follow the counsel of the prophet when it says have kids and you can't have kids? And things like that, you just have to seek your own guidance as to what to do. We chose to adopt. Other people I know chose to just not have children, and that's okay. And I think on these other questions of like where they're obviously maybe breaking the word of wisdom or something like that, I
So,
think
like
it's
a
just
strict written down commandment.
yeah, I just think it's best for us to not judge because we don't know, right? Like,
Yeah.
so for example, on the word of wisdom, right? There are things in the word of wisdom that it says to do. There's things that it says that if you do them, you can't have a temple recommend. But the temple recommend question is always between a person and their bishop. And
Right.
if I were in a situation where my doctor said, you have this ailment and this is the cure for that ailment, and I prayed about it and I felt like I should do it, but other people are like, well, that's against the word of wisdom, then I would say that's between me and the Lord, and in this case, my bishop too, because he gives me my temple recommend, and it's
Yeah.
not anybody else's business.
Okay. I 100% agree with what you're saying. Yeah. And like you said before, President Nelson can tell you to write a gratitude journal and to be grateful. And that can be a really great idea. And it can be life changing for people. That's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
But, and you're talking about now, let's switch to more specifically like commandments. But man, does the word of wisdom actually say don't drink coffee and tea? Is that
Well,
actually what it says in the word of wisdom?
it says that in the handbook for a temple recommend.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. But so some people would say, well, then that's an interpretation or a suggestion about how to follow that law. But if you look at the law itself, is there
Sure.
wiggle room?
But if
You know what
if
I
I
mean?
want to but if I want a temple recommend, I have to. My bishop's going to ask me specifically: do you abstain from tea, coffee, tobacco, alcohol, and other harmful substances? And especially that one, other harmful substances, like right. So that's a discussion between me and my bishop and my state president because they have the keys and they decide the answer to that question for me.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying that, like, I do think that there are, when we think things are like specifically commandments, there are ways that other people interpret them. That's all I'm saying.
Back in the day, Wilford Woodruff thought that it would be important to not let a person in the temple if they ate meat, because the word of wisdom says
that is actually written down in the word of wisdom.
Yeah, it is.
Drink no coffee and they eat but a very little meat.
Now, you're not singing the word of wisdom to us, Melissa. You're singing a hymn or a children's song.
Okay. Okay, got it. Okay.
That was a fascinating discussion, Melissa.
Oh, thanks, Matt.
Okay, you have the next one too.
I do. And this is very, very, I'm going to tell you before you tell me, this is a big deal. Okay. Now I'm going to read you the headline. Okay.
Okay.
What are the spiritual themes in the Wicked movie? The movie Wicked.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Big deal, little deal, no deal. 3, 2, 1.
No deal.
No deal.
Yeah, no deal.
Listen, it is no deal. I just wanted to talk about the movie. Have you seen it?
No, I have not seen it. It doesn't. I saw the Broadway show. I saw the Broadway show. And this doesn't do the whole show. I really, really love the Broadway show.
No, it's a 2-part. Yeah, there's going to be a second half to the movie.
So I have to wait. So I have to listen. You can't make me end on Defying Gravity and not let me sing the other songs.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for bringing music back into this episode. Here's the thing. I have not seen the Broadway musical. I don't know anything about it. I don't know any of the songs. I went to this Wicked movie as an absolute child going into this new and glorious world. And let me tell you, it was new and glorious. It was amazing.
Yeah.
The songs were so fun. I didn't mind ending where we ended because I don't know what else is to come. I thought it was a great ending. But also, Matt, visually, this movie is extraordinary. The actors are amazing. Ariana Grande, oh my goodness, she's so funny. She's so good. Is this related to our podcast? No. But there is an article where the author of Wicked, which was a long time ago, 1995, the book was written, where he talks about is actually a very spiritual book. It's based on a lot of spiritual things. I think the movie is basically good versus evil is the only thing I could pull out of it that might be related to this podcast.
No, it's not. It's not good versus evil. It's about judging other people for how they look on the surface and not fine. It's the scripture. The man looketh on the outside appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. That's the spiritual principle of Wicked.
Okay. You did good, Matt. That's good. That is the spiritual principle. I mean, I think originally, I'm just getting this from this article, but basically, the Elphaba character is named after a saint. And in the book, she's an atheist who believes she has no soul. But she is the child of a minister, and she's exploited for the minister father's missionary endeavors. That's in the book. It's definitely not in the movie.
Well, not in the part of the movie you've gotten to so far.
Oh, it gets there?
Spoilers.
Okay.
Spoilers for
Sorry, I didn't know that. Okay.
Movie. Yeah.
Okay, well, I just wanted to tell everybody it's so good. You should definitely go see it. I think you should see it in theaters just because visually it's so much going on all the time. It's really good. Thank you for giving me that.
So Wicked is like that. Like people can know the music and they can kind of know the story generally, but until you see it like the actual production, it's hard to really grasp how awesome it is. And I'm not really a huge Broadway show kind of guy, but when I go to New York City, I try to go to a Broadway show, and I took our mom to this, and it was like for her, she was crying through it. It was just this amazing experience. So from the moment I heard they were making the movie Wicked, I thought, this is going to be great because a lot of people are going to get exposed to this for the first time. Because if you can't go to Broadway or you're not going to travel to go see the show, you don't get to really experience it. And it really is phenomenal. And everybody I've ever talked to who's ever seen Wicked loves Wicked. And if you don't, it would be like being one of those people that doesn't like The Chosen. Like, how could you really
it would be like that. Yeah. Or one of the people who's like anti-gratitude lists. Like, yeah, gotcha.
Okay, so welcome back to the show This Week in Mormons for our listeners.
Thank you.
For my segment of Big Deal, Little Deal, No Deal, the question is, how does the presiding bishopric work? Is that a big deal, a little deal, or no deal? 3, 2, 1. Big deal?
Big deal.
Yeah. I like that the church, this is an article from the Church News. They're letting us know what the presiding bishopric does. My suspicion, and I could be wrong, is that they've been getting a lot of applications that say objective, presiding bishop. And they're like, people probably don't know what that job is, because if they did, they wouldn't want to do that job. And so they're letting us know this is what the presiding bishopric does, so that nobody ever says, I want to be the presiding bishop someday. Because
I think you nailed it. Yeah, you cracked this.
Do you know what they do?
Very confusing, okay? Because their title is presiding bishoprics, but they're not a bishop of anything.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's kind of confusing, and they're not the general apostles or first presidency really function more like a bishopric. So
in an ecclesiastical kind of confession.
Yeah.
So the presiding bishopric is over the temporal affairs of the church. So they run the bishop's storehouses. They run the humanitarian stuff. They run church distribution, which, by the way, so the presiding bishop, Bishop Kosei, his career was in grocery stores in Europe, right? So he has a background in moving food and getting things place to place and getting them on the shelf and all that sort of thinking about the shelf life of things and making sure you don't waste and all that stuff. That is the presiding bishop.
Okay, question. This doesn't feel like it has to be a priesthood responsibility.
Yeah, but this is like how this is the way that the church is organized right now. That you're called as the presiding bishopric, and you're over the temporal. If you think about how much
He is over
land that
so much humanitarian stuff, right?
and
That's
and
really
all
the
the
Relief Society.
oh well, yeah, and there's
You know
the
what I
church
mean?
farms. There's all those church farms, and there's all the
Mm-hmm.
service projects people do at the canneries and all of that stuff. They're over all of that.
Hmm.
Yeah. I do think that there's a counselor in the Relief Society that helps with the humanitarian stuff. But I just
Yeah,
think
she
that the
gets to be
prison.
on the committee.
Yeah. So I think it's the presiding bishopric that's in charge of it. Anyhow, if you're interested in what they do, there you can follow the link to this article and find out more. But it's a big deal because I'm sure there's some primary child that looks at these pictures in the Liahona magazine and says, "Wow, that sounds like a fun job. Someday I would
Yeah.
love to be called as second counselor in the presiding bishopric." And then their parents can say, "Well, you got to get started like paying attention at the grocery store how they manage this stuff because
Yeah.
if that's
Really
the
train
calling
up
you
your
want."
child. Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Here's our next story. BYU students cite lack of free speech. They say their education is condescending towards conservatism. Big
Oh my
deal,
heavens.
little deal, no deal. 3, 2, 1.
No
Big,
deal.
big, big deal. Matt, I don't
How do
feel
I
like as a BYU professor, you're the one who should say this is no deal. This is the actual students saying they are being condescended towards.
Oh
They
my
don't feel the
heavens.
freedom to speak out in their educational classes. Matt, this is a big deal.
Uh-huh. Listen, the
Okay.
things that they have to say aren't always worth listening to. It would be like my
Wow.
child saying to me, I feel
Matt,
like
I need you to start again and be someone's angel while you do this. Could you please start again?
Have you ever gone to the website Rate My Professors? Have you ever read the stuff that students write about their
Yeah.
professors? Yeah.
Yeah.
What they lack is the opportunity to speak. I really believe that. Who is the source of this? Like, who went around
Matt,
asking?
I will tell you, okay? There was a public opinion researcher called College Pulse and a think tank named Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression. And they interviewed more than 50,000 undergraduate students nationwide, 500 BYU students. 500 BYU students, okay?
They recruited them
And
from the Daily Wire. And they went to the Daily Wire
and
website and said, would you like to take a survey?
I feel that your prejudices are being exposed, and this is why students in your classes don't feel like they can speak, which is what this survey said, is that students felt discouraged from expressing an opinion on campus, as well as tolerance. They didn't feel free expressing tolerance for views that oppose theirs. Okay?
Okay.
So now listen, on a scale of 1 to 100, BYU only got 26 points. So it's actually very near the bottom of people who feel this way, but nonetheless, they feel this way. Okay?
Is it like in a math class? They're like, what's the answer to this? And they're like, nobody will
Okay.
let me tell them
It's
the
like
truth.
this. No, it's not. Listen, it's like this. Okay. Everybody knows. I don't know if this is true. Everybody knows that a college education is created to turn people into liberals. Okay. Everybody knows this. And
Yes.
when you send your students to college, listen, they're going to come back and be very liberal. And that's
Mhm.
a problem. Okay. Now, I'm just saying this statistically. I did read that the reason that most children leave college as liberals is because they enter college as liberals, because more liberal
Yes.
parents send
Yes.
their students to college. But
Yes.
nonetheless, that is not what our study is about. Okay. Our study is about at BYU, students do not feel free to express their opinions. Okay.
Mhm.
And especially BYU does lean more conservative in
Yes.
its student body,
Everything.
except in these two fields, Matt:
Okay.
art and political science.
Oh.
In art
Oh.
and political science, students do not feel free to express their conservative views. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And
I
I'm
actually
sorry,
find
what
that
do you
quite
teach again? What do you teach
political
again?
science.
Oh,
Political
yeah,
science.
that's right. Okay, yeah. Okay. So, could we just please let students have a voice and not create such an atmosphere of, I don't know, condescension? Could we try harder, Matt?
I feel chastised. I feel humbled. I feel
That's what I
like
was
I need
going
to
for.
change my ways. I
Good,
feel
good,
so
good.
ashamed
Okay.
of what we've been. Listen,
Okay.
what I would say to a student that said to me, I feel like I'm not allowed to express my views, I would say, In college, what we learn is how to express our views in writing. I would love it if you would
Oh,
express your views in written format in these
you're again
assignments.
asking them to be quiet. You don't want to hear from them.
In these assignments that you've been given, and you put no thought into those. Let's focus less
Mm.
on what you're saying in class, because maybe
Mhm.
in class people shout you down or whatever. Maybe you're
Mhm.
not allowed to say your true feelings in class, or maybe you're afraid or something of speaking out in class. But most of the learning is going to happen in that written assignment anyways. And I promise you, I don't care what your political views are. I care about your ability to write them down in a
Mm.
thoughtful, meaningful way.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Matt, that was spoken like a true professor. Um,
This is why no one.
whatever.
This is why they don't come to my office hours. They're like, "Oh, he's just going to tell me to do my homework." That's no fun.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
speaking of religion and politics, since
Mm-hmm.
that's where we want to go,
Absolutely.
the how many members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints served in President Biden's cabinet? Zero. Zero is
Oh,
the
okay.
answer.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. I didn't know. Okay, thank you. 0.
Of Trump's proposed cabinet, how many are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? That's the headline. Is this a
12. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
big
Don't guess
deal?
the answer.
Big deal? Little deal? No deal. 3, 2, 1. Big
Big
deal.
deal. Oh, I didn't think it was actually going to be a big deal to you. I just think anytime that a member of the church is, I don't know, semi famous, which being in Trump's cabinet would be, we love
Yeah.
it. We
Yeah.
like members of the church, we
Yeah.
dig that. So, yeah.
Well, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news lately, but I've been reading on social media that if you voted for Trump, you're going to go to hell. And so this really appeals to me because that means there are members of the church that didn't just vote for Trump. They're going to work
Oh,
with him. So they're willing to give up their eternal salvation just to be working in federal government. So how many of those are
wow.
there? Yeah, if you think about
Is it
that.
12? Is it 12? Do we know
No,
yet?
it's okay. So Marco Rubio is Catholic, but he's a member of our church in the way Christina Aguilera is a member of our church.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Marco
Okay.
Rubio,
Okay.
Secretary of State, and then their trade representative, I forget the person's name, the person who's been nominated to serve as U.S. Trade Representative is a member
Okay.
of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So
Go you, whose person we don't know or whose job we don't understand. Yes.
And just to be clear, I was being facetious. I don't think that
I
they're
know.
going to go to hell just for serving in Trump's cabinet. I do think it's a
It was
big
clear.
deal.
It was clear.
I love when members of our church are involved in government service. That's what the church asks us to do if we're so inclined, right? And so it does happen that members of our church tend to get high positions in Republican administrations more than in Democrat administrations. And so I think it's a good thing that members of our church are serving the government in various capacities.
Fabulous. Matt,
Mhm.
would you like to be in Trump's cabinet?
If he offered me $1,000,000 to do
Well,
anything in his
that's not how much that job pays.
okay, I would say no. There's nothing he could do to persuade me to serve in his cabinet. No, not ever.
Hey, Matt, you just talked about the importance of serving in government.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But in my opinion, this is going to be unpopular for a lot of people.
I can't wait.
You know how there was the Midas touch that everything the king touched turned to gold.
Yes.
In my perspective, there's something called the Trump touch that every
Mm,
person who gets too close to him, they kind of wither away and die. I'm like, look at Rudy Giuliani. Everyone used to love and admire him. Look at Mike Pence. People used to love and admire him. So I'm afraid of like the Trump touch affecting my life in a negative
Matt,
way.
what if you could be Trump's angel and you could have an influence for good?
Well, that's why some people
Also,
probably say yes.
I think you need to do a better job of praying for our incoming president.
No,
I
I'm
think
100%. I support our president. I just would
I
not
know.
want to work with him because I'd be
I
afraid of
see.
what might happen to my future career.
I see. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I put you on the spot anyways, Matt. You didn't
Okay,
have time to
so
think through the right answer to that question.
that's right. Okay, so the
Okay.
last big deal, little deal, no deal story. The
Okay.
truth about religious disaffiliation, leaving religion, depends on a long view, according to BYU researchers. Is that
Okay.
a big deal, little deal, or no deal? 3, 2, 1. Little
Big.
deal.
Big
Oh,
deal. I
okay.
like the idea of this story. I like it. Tell me more.
So the Wheatley Foundation funds research of this kind, and so some scholars from BYU put out a report where they look at religious disaffiliation around the world and they say, look, a lot of people leave church, but then they come back to church. And one of the main findings is that 80% of people around the world are affiliated with some religion. And so discussion of people leaving church is a little overblown, a little overstated, and we should really do more work to understand what's happening as people navigate their religious affiliation through the course of their life.
I see. So what we're doing is we're saying, like, this is how many people, when they leave the church, come back to church.
But they're
But
not even just looking at our church. They're just looking at all
church in
churches.
general.
Yeah.
But we're doing that like too quickly. We're getting our statistics like, did you come back when you were in your 20s and 30s as opposed to in your 80s and 90s?
Yeah, or later in life. Well,
Okay.
so to me it's a little deal because we already know this, that I think the largest group in America in terms of religious affiliation is nothing in particular, none of the above. But we know that a lot of people who affiliate as nothing are still religious people. And a lot of them still go to church. And a lot of them, some of them even call themselves evangelical. So the
Okay.
fact that a person does not affiliate with a religion doesn't actually mean that they're leaving religion. They're just leaving that particular affiliation for a time.
I see. Well, okay. So in our church, that's really not how we look at things. We're like, if you left our church, it only counts as coming back if you come back to our church. Like if you come back and make covenants and keep covenants again, right? Like that's how our church looks at statistically.
That's right. But what they're saying is that those sorts of perspectives don't kind of capture the whole picture. The other side of this that is in my book that you like to make fun of is that
I do. Yeah.
people who leave a church still identify with that church in certain contexts, even though they don't believe or go
Absolutely.
to church anymore, right? So we have members of our family who are no longer attending the church and would probably say they don't believe in Joseph Smith. But if you attack Mormons, they're going to feel personally attacked.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah,
because they
this
still
is why we
consider
still claim
themselves.
you in Famous Mormons, even when you're just Mormon adjacent,
That's right.
because it is a cultural claim, not just a religious claim. It's a cultural claim. Your family is LDS. You live in an LDS neighborhood. You culturally are LDS.
Okay,
A
so we
lot of
lost
times, even
Melissa
if you're
there
not
at the very, very end.
religiously LDS.
She was actually recording in a tough internet spot.
Okay,
But,
well, listener, I
so
believe
we're going
we've
to end the
lost Matt. I
podcast
was
with just
making an
me talking to
exceptional
you.
point,
So
and
I'd just like to
he
encourage you all
just couldn't
to
respond
subscribe to
in
This
his
Week in Mormons on
clever,
social media.
banterish way. And so
You can find us
he
on
dropped out.
Facebook
So
at This
guess
Week
what
in
I get to
Mormons. You
do,
can find us on
listeners?
Twitter
Thank
at The
you for
Real
listening to
Twim.
another amazing
Melissa
week
and I
of
do
This Week in
interviews. We
Mormons, the
encourage you
original
to
Mormon
watch some
News
of those interviews.
podcast.
Matthew
We
Harris
love
was
you,
a recent one
listener.
that was a lot of
Please check
fun.
us out
Rich
on our
Hanks
social
was a really
medias. Give us
popular one.
a email if
You
you
could
would
become
like
a
to
Patreon
let
subscriber
us know
and get
something that you
bonus
liked or
content.
disliked,
And again,
particularly
thank you
about
for
my brother
listening to the
Matthew.
original
It's
Mormon
contact at
/ Latter-day Saint
thisweekinmormons.com.
news
And we
podcast.
will catch
Talk
you
to you
again
again
soon
soon.
for another incredible episode. Thank you.